Hey guys, watch my new bike trick. Whoa!
Accidents happen. When they do, LaPorte Hospital can help you get on the road to recovery faster. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. Less waiting, faster care. The 30 minutes or less ER service pledge at LaPorte Hospital. During a medical emergency, every minute matters. That's why, at LaPorte Hospital, you'll find less waiting where you need it most, in our emergency room. In fact, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. And because we're a full-service hospital, we can provide more care if you need it. Less waiting, faster care. The 30 minutes or less ER service pledge at LaPorte Hospital.
Welcome to another great installment of Younger Life Live. It is a beautiful day to be alive. Mary Anthony racing to her seat. You know, not only are you host extraordinaire, you're greeting and welcoming people. Captain Ed just stopped by the show.
That was so nice. It was nice to see him. His dog is so well behaved.
His dog is beautiful. It's
I was thinking, my dogs are terrorists.
Crazy.
They're just they're weenie dogs. They're very yappy and they're wired. You know, they're all over the place.
What kind of dogs you have?
Weenie dogs.
Weenie dogs.
Dachshunds, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so his dog was
beautiful.
so timid. I put my hand out, and instead she just goes and sits right behind Captain Ed. And she thought, nope, I'm with the captain. She doesn't need the rest of us to love on her. She wouldn't come out.
Came in to talk to me about he had just attended a concert here recently in the area. And he was talking about, Younger Life Live and these wonderful, wonderful ear filter edition type plugs that he uses in his ear where it doesn't affect the sound of the actual musicians, but it kind of brings it down a tone. So for those of us that have to protect our ears. So we're going to talk about that next week. But I am so excited. We've got two great people that are here in studio that are hanging out with us today. And by the way, I'm really excited because all of us are Cubbies fans. I'm assuming, right? Yeah, we're all smiling. Introduce our guest, please.
Okay, so we have Dan and Jessica with us today. Would you please tell us a little bit about where you're from and what you do?
We're from the Family and Youth Services Bureau. We're both social workers there. We're on the clinical team there, so we're both counselors. And yeah, I don't know.
How long have you been there?
I've been there 20 years and 2 months.
Holy cow.
That's fantastic.
I'm old.
No, you're not.
Please.
Look at you. You're a World Series 2016 champion guy.
I know.
I like this guy.
I know.
And of course, this young lady. You guys are great. They have such great energy. They came with a positive smile. They brought the sunshine with them here to the Younger Life Live studios, brought to you today by LaPorte Hospital, Federiki and Mary Anthony. All right. So before we even get into this whole diatribe, this discussion, I have to look at you guys and talk about Cubbies fans. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Tell me your thought about the series and the World Series. What does that mean to you? Because this is a whole part of Younger Life Live too.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's like a lot of people. I felt bad for certain people that have gone on.
Yeah.
Yes.
That weren't alive, like my Uncle Dave. It's like, too bad he couldn't have hung on for another 8 years. That kind of stuff. Just all sorts of thoughts on people that didn't get to be there. My son lives in Nashville, Tennessee now, and he called me up. He's actually all emotional. He's very excited and wished that we could have watched the game together. It was kind of cool, the story of the man that went out in the gravesite.
Oh, I know.
Because he promised his dad, they made promises that they'd watch the game together, listen to the game together. So I know it's really weird because the Cubs have always just lost.
Right.
And I actually
simple, yes.
And that when the Indians tied it up, it's like, oh no, this isn't going to really happen, is it?
Yes.
It can't happen this year, and it's just like how it's always been. But it was great. It was just absolutely wonderful. I was at my stepson's house watching the game because the Storms knocked out our TV with the satellite.
Oh, no.
Oh, I would have freaked out.
So it's nice being he's a big Cubs fan also, but the 2-year-old grandson was in bed sleeping, so when the Cubs won, we had to go outside and yell.
Scream.
Cheer out there.
It was exciting though.
Absolutely great. Did you watch the game at all?
I did. I didn't grow up watching baseball, but once I married or got together with my husband, I started watching. It was just really exciting to see his reaction and be a part of it.
Well, and you guys went up to
We
Chicago
did. We went up
Saturday.
last Saturday.
Rock on.
Yeah, and
That's
we
awesome.
sat at a really cool place just across from Wrigley and watched it. Granted, they lost, but it was still cool to be a part of all of that and be from here and get to celebrate with everybody.
I think that's why it's so hard to not get emotionally swept up in it. We've never, I shared with Rick that we're primarily football. I mean, like my husband, when we're talking about watching sports on TV, he's big into football. So although we enjoy baseball, our kids have been in softball and baseball, we enjoy watching it. We're not diehards about anything. But the Cubs are a home team. You can't help but feel a connection there, especially when they're doing so well. And it is so exciting and we all too have family members that have been diehards and aren't with us anymore. I know my own grandmother's, she's been dead over 13 years, but she loved the Cubs.
Oh, yes. A lot of people.
Sammy Sosa, I mean, she swore that she loved him. I mean, you know what I mean? So, I mean, we're talking, she's always loved that. So it's hard to not get attached, as they're doing better and you keep thinking, maybe we'd find ourselves, let's watch the game. And then, I mean, obviously with the World Series, we've all been watching it and our kids have been very into it. And it's neat to see and share with them and know this is such a big deal, so it's really hard to not get attached and get swept up in the excitement.
I think the craziness today, and I was chatting on the air with our radio partner, WIMS, AM 1420, how they're expecting, there have been some unbelievable events and rallies and parades for Chicago teams through the last, let's say, 30 plus years.
Yeah.
But today they're expecting on this crazy Friday, which is going to be a beautiful day to put on top of that. Plus, a lot of kids have off school because of it. About 4 million people, they're saying.
It's incredible.
That's incredible to me.
It really is. And, I think also another thing with so much negative energy with the election stuff going on, people are looking for this positive spin.
Get out of here. It's not a negative, is it?
But, and like it's something happy that we can all kind of unite over. So I think that just adds to it. I think it's going to be a great celebration. I hope everybody is conscientious of so many people around them. And
yes.
Yeah, so it doesn't turn ugly. It's not tarnish such a good day. I hope that it stays great just for everybody that's there. I hope they have a wonderful time. And I mean, really, could we be blessed with a better day? I mean, honestly, it's incredible.
I agree with you on that. And I look at it this way, and I know there's a lot of folks out there that may not have wanted to take their child or grandchild out of school. I look at it this way: family memories, once in a lifetime, family bonding, history lesson. You're getting school. Go to the museums down there. Go have lunch by the lake. Go take pictures by the Bean. Take a ride and explain the South Shore or Metro, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
plenty
day,
that you can do to incorporate. I did think it was really cute. I happened to be at the school yesterday, and they had shared a little an excuse absence kind of thing. It was a tardy slip that someone had brought in that they had printed out, and it had a Cubs logo on it. And it said, "Please excuse my son and daughter. They were up very late watching the World Series." And then at the bottom they put, "I think it should be okay considering it's been 108 years since it's happened."
Again, a history
and,
lesson.
Of course,
and a part
it was
of school.
cute. And of course the school, I mean, it was not uncommon. Lots of children were signed in late yesterday.
I say that to the hip young parents of today, the grandparents of today, great grandparents of today, but more importantly, we just as a nation, as a country, just kind of absorb, step back. We're in a new kind of light, people.
Yeah.
It's a new year.
It was
so. Someone just said, I agree with you guys 100%. I am actually listening to you guys downtown on the live tune-in app right now.
Fantastic.
And we're getting ready for it. 10 o'clock it starts.
Have
so
a
it's going
great
to be
day.
good.
Perfect.
The parade starts in Wrigleyville.
Yeah.
Cranks over to the Grant Park area-ish. And then the rally's at noon.
How cool.
So rock on with your bad self.
How neat. Well, and while we're talking about the kids and school and stuff, it leads us to our discussion today on what's up in a teen's world. Sure. I loved when I saw this seminar. I saw some information about it. I got really excited thinking this is brilliant and fits so well into the Younger Life Live theme. We need to teach our children and our very young children and our teenagers how to grow up wanting to live that healthier lifestyle and mentality. And I'm curious, there's so much that goes on now, even more so, every generation says, oh, we did all of these things, but then the next generation has all these added challenges. I think that's so true today when we have social media on top of the drug issues that are in the county and stuff like that. So can you tell us a little bit about, is this a seminar you've done before, or is this a new one? Is this, and tell us about some of the other ones that you also offer, but specifically this one, where this idea kind of came from.
Well, Dan and I teach an alcohol and drug defense class each month. It's 4 weeks each month with a different group of kids who are either referred through probation, or maybe a school or a parent wants them to come in.
Wow.
So this Family Life series is kind of related to those classes that we teach each week. We changed it a little bit to gear more towards parents and adult community members.
And a big part of the presentation, at least from my point of view, is to let because it's all adults come, kids don't come, even though it's about kids. But is to, what do we do to help our kids? Because a lot of people just feel, oh, there's nothing you can do. It's their friends, their peers, and we just know that's not true. That parents are the anti-drug.
Yeah.
And there is a drug. There are drug issues and alcohol issues in the community, all communities, and I think it's useful for parents to know, okay, well, what can I do? And the things you were mentioning a little bit ago is just like be involved with your kids. It doesn't matter what their age; you need to do things with them.
Yeah.
Make sure they're exposed to a lot of football and sports programs at school,
family activities.
But you need to talk with them. You need to talk with them about drugs. You need to talk with them about sex. Let them know what your values are.
And that's hard. I mean, that can be hard as a parent.
Well, you and I
can
have
be hard.
talked about this because this is something where, it's interesting you guys bring that up, because we have always said this, and even in my group of friends, I'm gonna be 50 this upcoming week. And in my friends that are in their 30s, 40s, even the young 20-somethings, we have discussion, and then those that are beyond. It's very interesting, the age groups and the age brackets where some don't even want to touch the issue. We hit it head on. We said to the kids, this is what it's about. We're gonna tell you exactly what it's about: sex, drugs, everything that relates to these issues. We are gonna give you what we feel is the best information out there. We will tie in whatever you want. We will answer any questions you want about us personally. Then there's the other side of this. At a certain point, you as young individuals, and we all know this, have to make those decisions, whether it's to party, whether it's to, and then you were talking about social media. It's a whole other spin. And you guys probably bringing up, sexting and this crazy stuff with the young kids of today. Social media is an explosion over the last decade plus. So that's a whole other thing. But I think that open, honest approach.
We try to be very open, keep open discussions. So that way the kids never feel like something's off limits to discuss.
Right. Well, because if you're uncomfortable with it, they're going to be uncomfortable with it.
Even when you are uncomfortable, this is what I always say, you just act like it's not a big deal.
Right.
Everything is, oh, okay. And you kind of go with it. And I know in our house, we've always kind of whatever they say, we go off that a little bit. That way that we're not feeding them too much information. We kind of let them steer the conversation, but it is uncomfortable. There's been many conversations where I've wished I had handled differently or wished I could disappear in the middle of, but as long as you keep doing it, that's the point. I feel like that does help, alleviate their concerns or their stress about asking you about anything.
I think though, you would agree with this as a young hip parent, that I'm sure you're happy in your heart that they have asked it, because it's hard for children to take a step.
Yeah.
And I say young to, the age groups, when they're real little or even teens. As they get older and as they groove through friends and stuff, a lot of them turn to their friends, and their friends know nothing.
Yeah.
And it depends on what they've absorbed from their homes and their situations, and everybody's family life and background and situations are all different.
Yeah.
That being said, I love the fact that they ask. And one of the things that I've thrown out there through the years to my friends, families on the air is to say, listen, we had in high school, and thank the Lord it worked during their years in high school, we had the no questions asked phone call, which means if they're at a party, they're out with their friends, and they need us, no questions asked, we will drop what we're doing and get you. And that circle went with my family of brothers and sisters. Mom and dad were out. You could call grandma. You could call your aunts and uncles. We will not ask you a question. You will not be judged. You are your friends. We will take you to wherever you need to go, and then we'll go from there. 9 times out of 10, and it happened many times through the years, where they pick up the phone and say, hey, you know what? Could you do us a favor? Pick us up. Yeah, sure. Pick them up. They're at a party. They're with a gathering. You don't ask, hey, can we go over to the house and watch some movies? Yeah. And on the way home, guess what they're bringing up to mom and dad?
Yeah.
The situation that they didn't like. Now, not all kids are going to be, the best of kids, and people will try things. Everybody's been in different situations, but at least they took that step to get out of a potential unique situation.
Absolutely. Well, and even if they, don't share. I'm just getting into those years with my kids. My oldest is 16. So, although we've had many, many conversations, it's nice for them to know they can call you no matter what. For me, I don't know that I could ever say no questions, period, because I gotta know.
You are that question gal.
But I could say we will discuss it tomorrow. You know what I mean? But typically they're going to tell you.
They will.
And that's what is important. As long as you've kept that conversation open. I mean, have you found it with your guys' experience that that's pretty common, that kids want to discuss things with their parents, their concerns, their issues, and even if they have done wrong, as long as they know that it's an accepting environment anyway?
It depends on the parent if the kids want to talk with them. If the parent does come across as condemning, judging, they're not going to talk with you. So when you're telling your 16-year-old needs a ride, you say, well, it's like, okay, well, let's talk about this tomorrow instead of, we'll talk about this tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're not, they're not going to talk with you. A component of the class that Jessica and I do is parents come the first and the last week, and I meet with the parents halfway through the time period. But we ask the kids, how many of your parents have a deal that if you need a ride home, just call us, we'll provide the road. You won't get in trouble. Most of the kids raise their hands.
Yep.
How many of you believe your parents? And about half the hands go down.
Really?
Because it's like that, we'll talk about,
Yes.
If they know they're going to get in trouble, they're not going to call.
And so I talk with the parents. I say, your kids, as a parent, your kids need to be safe. You need to help them make it 25 years old so that they're still alive. And if you're going to have consequences, why the heck would they call you?
Yeah.
We know that, there was some study done last year, 2015. It was over a 30-day period how many kids drank, percentages and all that kind of stuff. But 8% of the kids stated that they drove while drinking, and in a 30-day period, and 20 or 22% rode with someone else that had been drinking. It's like, as a parent, you don't want your kid to do that.
Agreed.
Terrifying. Terrifying.
It's the number one cause of death for teens, and first thing is safety.
Yeah. I want to spin off of that just for 1 second, because this is a great conversation. I love this. Younger Life Live brought to you today by LaPorte Hospital, Rick Federici, Mary Anthony. What I love is that when you look at this, you only have, I'm going to remind parents and grandparents, one chance to do it. In other words, you say to your child, we were just chatting about, we're going to talk about this tomorrow, and you bond with them, but in a cool parental way. And I get it, you're a parent and you don't want to be their best friend, but remember, they're going to come back to you that second and third time, and they are always going to feel comfortable from point one to say, Ma, you know what, I really just want to talk to you about this. I've got this situation, I'm kind of lost, knowing that you're not going to judge them.
Yeah.
So whether it's sex or drugs or alcohol or a unique circumstance, they know that they got you to count on. And I want to throw that out there as a reminder to people, because it is tough, because once you kind of break that, it's hard to go back to it. Because I know I've had friends that kind of gave a little attitude to their children, and their kids
it's
actually
hard
came up
not
and said,
to.
you guys are cool parents. I'm like, no, your mom and dad love you more than anything. I think and I'm blunt, I'm just, the way they approached it was, maybe a little bit
harsh.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's tough not to be, because as parents, we set these expectations when kids are really little. My kids age from 16 down to 4, so they're all over the place in there. So, when they're little, they have to, you do that again, you're in trouble. You do that again, you're in trouble. Whatever the consequence is. I think that it's hard to break that mentality as they get older because they need the freedom to make mistakes and not be in trouble for that. And it's hard as a parent to, because it's so scary and the consequences get so scary when you're talking drinking and driving and drugs, heaven forbid, all of those things. It's hard as a parent. It's because out of fear, I imagine, that it's hard to not be, want to say that we will talk about this tomorrow tone. You know what I mean? I think I can understand that. I feel like that is so scary and would be really difficult to not do that. I know with my parents, I grew up in a very open house too. And I think that helped me to always feel I don't even want to say pressure, but to be honest and be straightforward with my parents. We had a great relationship, my sister, my parents, and I really want to keep that up with my own kids. But I can understand why for some parents it's very difficult to not, it's just out of fear. I think a lot of times they don't know how else to handle it, and
keeping in mind that if you choose not to consequence your child about something or discipline, that's not going to be perhaps the only consequence they'd experience in a situation. There are natural ones. So if you say, I'm glad you called me, I hope everything was okay. If you want to talk tomorrow, I'm here for you. Yeah. I'm glad you're safe. Know that there are other consequences going on with that situation. Maybe they left this party early. There are other, their friends are going to be like, well, you don't know the whole situation.
You're right.
Very true.
As parents, you don't want to run a boot camp, but it can't be all relationship. Our kids don't need old people as friends. You need to make sure to have the relationship so they're comfortable talking with you. But you gotta set rules. You gotta make sure they understand that and follow rules, set limits. The goal is for them to learn self-control and how to solve problems.
Can I ask you a question? So let's say we're in class with you. So you talk to the parents on one side, and you obviously have the students. Do you describe to the students, that at a point you're going to need to realize that this is what's going to happen? And at the same time, you're telling the parents when you're bonding with them on the first and the last class, guys, you're going to have to be this way. You know what I mean? Are you kind of giving everybody the education so everybody understands if they're not at that point? That's what I'd like to ask.
We meet with the kids and Dan meets separately with the parents, so it's not combined.
Good.
But we're giving them, each group, all of this information that, kids, you're teenagers, you're going to want to do some different things. This is the time in your life where you're figuring yourself out. You want some independence, but if your parents have set limits, you've got to abide by those if you're going to expect more leniency in the next few years. And then what Dan tells parents.
Yeah, and I let the parents know, the limit setting or the consequences. Set limits. There's consequences, but don't be harsh. A little bit is better than a lot. We just know that if you're going to ground your kid because they got arrested for smoking weed, or drinking or whatever, and I mean, just last Wednesday, no, 2 days ago. My son, he's been grounded since June when he was arrested. No phone, and it's like, at what point
That's
you're going to start trusting
anywhere.
him? You're just letting him know, I do not trust you. He needs to have a chance. People make mistakes. He needs to have a chance to earn your trust back. It's going to take a while, but you need to not be too harsh. Otherwise, kids sneak around and
rebel.
Certainly.
And
rebel.
Rebel.
I feel like I love, Dan, that you brought up the word trust. Okay, this is something I've always talked to the kids about. You have our trust, but once you break it, you have to earn it back. And but it shouldn't take months. And I don't think feel like that would be very difficult for them to even keep focused on what they're being punished for at that point. I feel like that doesn't, I don't know, is ineffective. I feel like regardless of age level, something really silly example, my son that's almost 7 has had an issue just very recently. He's a very responsible little boy, but forgetting his coat or losing his assignment book with school that has to be signed daily, little things like that. And a couple times you say, hey, what's going on? And he's like, oh, nothing. You're excited about Halloween, whatever. Well, if this happens again, then they need a directly related, So what we did is, again, he lost his coat for the third time, and his assignment book was lost, and we found it. But I said, okay, well, for 1 week, Monday through Friday, you can't bring home. Our school has Chromebooks for the kids to use, and normally they can bring it home, and we do learning games. But he gets some screen time on it.
Sure.
I said, you get no screen time on that Monday through Friday. So for 1 whole week, you have to bring home your stuff. And, that was a big deal to him. But it directly related to the responsibility thing. And beyond a week, I would think he would just lose focus and say, I'm just not allowed to play it, and not really realize why anymore.
And care.
And not
care.
care.
Like, whatever, Mom.
At one point, they're going to say, well, there's nothing I can do.
Big deal.
What am I doing now
Yes.
that's going to make any difference? I have to wait until
Whenever.
however. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you're doing the consequence, you need to make sure and that sounds like you obviously do that it's without emotion. This is the consequence, talk about it at a time. If you do this is what's going to happen. You do this is what's going to happen. I do other parenting classes, and in addition to at the alcohol class with the parents, let them know that there's a difference between punishment and discipline. Punishment is harsh. Parents can be really good because you're angry. Your adrenaline's going. Your blood vessels going in your neck and all that kind of stuff. So you can be good at punishment. But I point out discipline. The root word of discipline is disciple, and that means to teach. We want to teach our kids be responsible. Teach them to figure things out for themselves. And
I love that. I do. I think that is such a great point for parents to take away for kids at any level. But as they get older, obviously we know that the issues and the problems that they're presented with just get harder and scarier. So I feel like that is so important to teach very, very young. I love that. Can you tell us a little bit about the Family and Youth Service Bureau? Is there a mission to the business? Is this a nationwide thing or statewide?
We're part of the Youth Service Association, and it got changed to Family and Youth Services Bureau. Jessica brought a pamphlet along.
Please.
Fabulous.
Please.
Our
We're all
mission
about
statement.
you. And by the way, you guys are on YouTube, of course. So anybody listening YouTube, Younger Life, one word, little space, live. Rick Federici, Mary Anthony, I love this discussion. I hope we're going to open the eyes of a lot of individuals and help out. But please talk about it.
Well, the Family and Youth Services Bureau started out just Youth Services Bureau, but we found out over the years we were working with families too. You found out a lot of problems kids have are because of their parents. So, we started working more and more with the parents too. So that's why it got changed to the name changed. But it's part of the Youth Services Association. Our mission statement just got changed, much briefer than it was a couple years ago. And now it is: the mission of the Family and Youth Services Bureau is to assist youth and families through supportive services that create a positive change for Porter County. We primarily work with Porter County people. We both Jessica and I work a lot with high-risk kids.
Can you explain that when you say high risk, to explain to the audience listening on the radio and viewing?
Well, high risk means they're likely to have problems in life,
Sure.
Drugs, alcohol,
mental health
issues. And when you do have mental health issues, or if you are, abusing substances, drinking, don't have a positive home environment, that just puts you at risk to have problems.
Is that what deems an at-risk child? Is that what makes a child pointed as at risk? Is the home environment, or are there other things that kind of red flag someone to say this child might be a high risk?
Several other things. Yeah. So, not a great home environment, if they're not well connected with the community, if they're, a low poverty neighborhood, if they're, I'm trying to think about, we talk about it in our Family Life series.
Yeah.
If they're using substances, and kids start pretty young, the ones that get into problems start young, who they're hanging out with, if they're involved in structured activities, when they're not involved, that makes them at high risk.
Whether or not their parents are involved with them,
Yeah.
if their family's well connected.
And how they're doing in school, not just, are you going to school or not? It's like, what are you doing in school? Are you getting sent at the principal's office? Are you getting kicked out of classroom?
Do you like school?
Are you doing homework? Involved in extracurricular activities? So those are all factors that we look at that help determine risk.
How does a child get paired up with one of your programs then? Is it through the school, or is it parents that might be concerned about their child, or how does that work?
Well, we have several programs. We call it our AD class, the Alcohol and Drug Defense class I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Is primarily probation referred.
Okay.
So kids who've become involved with the juvenile probation department get referred over to us for the AD class. Dan and I do individual, group, and family counseling. So sometimes that's probation referred, sometimes that's self-pay. So if schools have suggested for kids to see an individual counselor, the families call in, and that's how we get connected with them. I don't know about your parent group or mentoring. Dan does mentoring in the
I would go into a couple middle schools in
Oh,
Valparaiso.
fantastic.
We used to go into Portage too, but funding got cut a little bit, so we
Yeah.
had to cut back on that. It's a lunch group. It's only half an hour, 7th and 8th graders, and there's just staff members that spend the time with them, and it's just, we know that it's good for kids to be involved or have contact with as many positive adults as
Certainly.
possible. There's something called 40 developmental assets that's been around for decades, and you can go through a checklist of, does your kid know the other adults, and how many adults, and the more the better. It just is.
Yeah, that's
important.
neat.
So that, the mentoring, but also my parenting class, a lot of that gets referred by Department of Children's Services.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up.
Sometimes it's just attorneys,
Really?
people fighting for custody or visitation rights. So, hey, go to this parenting class, and that'll be positive.
We're going to take a quick time out. When we return, we're going to find
Yeah.
out a little bit more about that
Fantastic.
here on Younger Life Live. Rick Federici, Mary Anthony, thanks for tuning in. Also, our radio partner, AM 1420, WIMS, and WIMSradio.com. We'd like to thank the LaPorte Hospital.
Hey guys, watch my new bike trick. Whoa!
Accidents happen. When they do, LaPorte Hospital can help you get on the road to recovery faster. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. Less waiting, faster care. The 30 minutes or less ER service pledge at LaPorte Hospital.
Hey guys, watch my new bike trick. Whoa!
Accidents happen. When they do, LaPorte Hospital can help you get on the road to recovery faster. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. Less waiting, faster care. The 30 minutes or less ER service pledge at LaPorte Hospital.
We are back, of course, on Younger Life Live. I'm Rick Federici.
I'm Mary Anthony.
And it
This
is a great day to be alive.
fascinating discussion. I'm loving this. I feel like we could talk about this all day long. We're talking about our kids growing up, teaching them how to make good choices and what to do when they don't. I think that's important too. Is that it's okay.
We're going to take a quick phone call right here on Younger Life Live and WIMS AM 1420. You're on live with WIMS. Good morning.
Hi, Rick. Mike Kellums from the Sheriff's Department.
Officer Kellums, how are you, sir?
Good. I just want to let you and the listeners know that we're policing a two-vehicle crash on US 20. It's about halfway between 300 and 350 East out near the Rolling Prairie area. And because there's extrication and some injuries here, we're closing down the highway between State Road 39 and the junction of 2 and 20. We don't anticipate it to be a long time, but if everybody would avoid the area for the next hour or so.
Okay, awesome. Give us a buzz back if you wouldn't mind, or we'll keep updated on your Facebook page. Thank you so much, officer. Appreciate it.
Will do. Have a good day.
Scary.
You too. All right. See, you never know what to expect
I
here on
hate
Younger
those.
Life. We
Yeah.
That's
always
nice
get.
to contact you right away.
Yeah, well, you know what? He knows that we hit the masses, and we would like people. We try to, don't shout, reroute kind of attitude. And there's so many different, things that are falling in and out of these emergency areas: EMTs, police, fire.
Yeah.
God forbid those that are injured. Sometimes flight for life choppers. So whether it's
Scary.
Porter, LaPorte, Lake, Harbor Country, Chicago proper. we hit it. So, but back to the show at hand. This is an awesome
This is
conversation
a fabulous
today.
topic. I wanted to ask, you mentioned that you occasionally get referrals from Department of Children's Services. Are you a part of them, or they just refer you?
We're just a service provider.
Okay. And can you serve counties outside of Porter County? I mean, if somebody was interested, can they contact and?
I think so. I think our grants generally just cover Porter County.
I see.
We're generally just involved with Porter County
Really?
juvenile probation.
Yeah.
But if you're a self-pay client and you can get yourself there, you can come
Wouldn't
from
it?
I love
wherever.
you
I
guys.
think.
This is great.
I think
you're all about helping.
Yeah, I think it really is. It is great. It's awesome, the information you're giving at every level. But this specific seminar that you have coming up, can you tell us when it is and if people can still register if they're interested? The What's Up in a Teens
Well,
World.
it's on Tuesday
Yeah,
evening.
election night. We don't know who
night.
set that up.
Oh
we
my
didn't-
goodness, I
Can
didn't
I
even
tell
realize
you-
that. How funny.
I, Rick Federici, will be
us.
here in the WIMS election studio with my team. You guys feel free to call and remind people all you want, because we're going to have a whole plethora of folks calling in and listening in. So it's on election night, so I
Yep.
think that's it's a nice little spin. At least it's
Sure.
positive.
Yeah.
You know,
From 6 to 7:30.
Oh, that's
Returns
not
don't
bad.
start coming in until
You're right.
after that anyhow.
you're right.
Okay.
But people can call up until the same day. Actually,
Sure.
we just need
Oh,
to
really?
know how many chairs. to set up.
We'd love to know ahead of time to make sure we have enough seats, but I don't know that we'd
And
turn anybody
cookies and
away. So
stuff.
should
No walk-ins.
Yeah.
we
Possibly?
might get a call,
I mean,
but
if a walk-in comes, we'll just pull another
Wow.
chair out of
We
the
won't
closet. No
turn you
big
away.
deal.
Is there a fee for the seminar?
no, it's free.
It's
No,
a free.
they're all free.
That's just awesome. I mean, it really
We'll
is.
have
It's amazing.
cookies.
There we
I love
go.
what kind.
I just requested peanut butter, but
Yeah.
Peanut butter
Right.
rocks.
That's my favorite also.
See, I'm all about that. Do you guys have a phone number that
Yeah.
we could throw out there, please?
219-464-9585.
Perfect. Do you also tap into utilizing social media, like the Facebooks and Twitters of the world? I'm just kind of curious on that.
We have a Facebook page. I know that one of the staff members who covers lots of our community outreach uses that for various things
Sure.
that she's
Yeah,
involved
certainly.
in. But counseling, our clinical department doesn't really put much. I think that she advertises our Family Life series though on there.
Good.
For sure.
So you guys have such a wide range of programs. I'm curious, is there an age range that you guys specifically are we talking you primarily I don't want to say you primarily deal with teenage group?
That's a big part of it, but we also deal with younger children.
You do.
I've had 5-year-olds that have gone through trauma, and plus all adults, their parents. Sometimes people just say, "I need help with my kid. I need counseling." They're going through divorce and that kind of stuff. So it's all age ranges. More and more, there's grandparents raising
Very true.
grandchildren.
Tons
Very
of
true.
grandparents
need help.
raising children.
Another program that Clinical Services is called Strengthening Families, and that's for teens that are at risk. And a lot of times, a number of times, they are referred by probation, but it's also people just say help,
Yeah.
and it's a really good program. But the younger children are encouraged to come to the for the evening. Also, it starts off with everybody having dinner. We fix dinner. It's a free
Aw,
program.
That's neat.
And I think they kind of look forward to coming and not having to cook on
I'm
it.
sure as the
Yeah.
mom I could
Thursday
say
night.
that's certainly true.
Lots of times they ask what's for dinner next week.
Ah, that's so cool.
But families tend not to eat dinner together. That's one of the biggest things we know. Have dinner together.
Yeah.
At the
Agreed.
table,
Sit down.
not in front of the TV. Turn off the electronic devices. Have conversations. That helps reduce risk. It helps you be involved with your kids, and they know that you care
Can
about
I
them.
tap onto that?
Please
That's something
do,
that Mary
yeah.
Anthony and I jump all over, number one. And I'm so glad you brought that up for any age group of parental grandparent. I am all about this. When you're at the dinner table, even if how many times recently in the last 10 years, you go out to a restaurant and I just sit there and go, my mouth drops. You see a family of 6, 4, and everybody's on their phone.
Yeah.
Put it down, turn it off for that 30 minutes. The other thing is, we all know in this room, and parents listening out there, listen to this. We get it that everybody works and the moms and the dads and single families, we get all that. But if you could try it once or twice a week, say, you know what, on Tuesday, we're going to do Sloppy Joe's, or Friday, we're going to get together and we're just going to have a half an hour dinner. Just almost make a date. Because we have to do that, we find, even with our daughters. Now, my daughter's obviously in town. I said, awesome, you're coming in. Guess what? We're doing this, this, and this. Yeah. And you could do whatever you want the rest of the time. But she knows, and she's cool with it because that's time, that's valuable time.
It's baffling to me the impact that actually has. And there's been numerous studies that's proven that, just having dinner on the table, general, regular conversation, it's crazy the amount of support behind that. Something so simple. And it isn't always simple because, God knows it's very busy weeks most of the time, and my kids are all in all kinds of sports. So there's something every night. But even if it is cold pizza, as long as it's together and you're having a conversation, it does make a huge difference. Even if it's been one of those super hectic days, or, on occasion, even if it is something on, we're all going to sit together and watch a movie, which I'm not big on, dinner in the living room, but occasionally it's fun, and it still is like a little, dinner date, and everybody benefits from that.
And it's spending time with your kids.
It is.
Yes.
And that's what's most important, is to do that. But anyhow, with getting back to strengthening families, we start off with the dinner, and then we break up the younger kids go off into a playroom, and they have structured activities, maybe focused on the theme for the night. But then the adults go into one room, the teens go into another, and we do our lessons
that relate to each other. Each week has a different topic.
A lot of times. And then after that hour, then we get back for another hour, and the whole family meets together, and we practice working in what they were taught. Right now it's problem solving was the topic last night. So that's just one of the programs that we do. On a
personal note, I wanted to ask, do you, either one of you, have a favorite program that you guys facilitate? Is there something that you really enjoy the most, and are you surprised that that's the one you like? Or
I'm kind of weird. I've spent my whole career working with criminal type people.
Really?
So a lot of it is with youth that are high risk, suspended commitments to boys' school, girls' school. I no longer work with that program, but before Family and Youth Services Bureau, I was a social worker at Westville Correctional Center for quite a few years. So it's, criminal types. And so it's like, I kind of like going into the detention center and the groups I do. It's like, I don't know. I grew up with the Leave It to Beaver family. I don't know why I'm attracted to these people. Maybe just because they're so needy.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's kind of
you find
sad
that rewarding
in a lot of ways. Yeah.
I mean, to see the change in them possibly.
I think what I find is it's rewarding that they feel comfortable talking with me. That they feel like I care. Oh, Dan's here. They kind of look forward to Thursday.
And just bonding with both of you here today, both of us, and I'm not speaking for both of us, but I think I can.
Yeah.
You are very comfortable to speak with, and you have a passion for what you do. You could just tell by the way you guys are kind of, coming off in the interview.
I feel like that you have to be passionate
Seriously.
about it to keep at it, because I imagine that it can be exhausting emotionally, because you do get attached, and of course, and some situations are very sad. And it's sad to see that, and sad to know you can't always change it. So I feel like you have to be passionate about it to keep at it like that. But I think the impact you have on so many families is probably pretty profound.
And what's your favorite?
Well, my focus, my degree focus was in alcohol.
Oh, really?
Drugs and alcohol, rather. Yeah, addictions and mental health. So ad, of course, naturally fits with my passion, but we do clinical assessments, counseling, and clinical interviews for the juvenile probation department. So that's when kids get involved, and the judge orders that we look at what's going on to see what services might be helpful. And I just love that, because oftentimes it's in the detention center, and then we meet with the parents, and it's like a puzzle.
Yeah,
we get to see what works and what doesn't work, and oftentimes that's step one of them being involved with our services for a long time, just because we have so many programs for so many different things. Yeah. Sometimes families end up being involved with lots of them.
Is this something that, obviously you're a young lady professional, of course, at what you do. Is that something that when you went to school, that's what you wanted to do? Was your focus in life? You kind of found that niche early on?
Kind of, yeah. My undergraduate degree is in early intervention, which is birth to 3. So I thought I love kids, I love babies, human development. Then I worked as an investigator for Child Protective Services down in Texas. So I was exposed to like worst case scenario for lots of kids. Yeah. And what I found most often was that substance use was involved or the cause of whatever happened for them. So I decided that I wanted to not do that forever because that was really hard, really tough. But I wanted to help families in a different way. So I returned home and went back to school, decided on another level I could be more helpful. So yeah.
How neat. How do each one of you de-stress? I've asked this to a few different guests we've had, and I love this question because I feel like when you work with some of these cases that are tough, how do you release some of that
decompress
stress
for the day?
Yeah, so then you're ready to go again, to keep going, because I can imagine that would be heavy business.
Our clinical team is small and very close and well connected with each other. So, if there's any period of time where we've gone through a rough case or rough involvings throughout the day, we're able to staff with each other.
Yeah.
Every Friday we have a group staffing as a whole team, maybe just the few of us.
Sure.
But I guess on a personal level, I'm highly involved with my friends and family, so I can close the book of Family and Life Services Bureau Friday at 5, and then
that's nice.
Do my own.
That's great.
Life.
That's really nice.
And I'm really good at that.
Jessica's a new mom, also.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations!
Thank you.
Baby boy or girl?
Girl, Charlotte May.
Oh,
Charlotte
how
May, what a
sweet.
cute name!
Thanks.
How old is she?
She's 5 months.
Oh, how
Yep.
So
sweet.
that helps de-stress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
When
look
you
at the
have a
baby and go, oh, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't help but get caught up in some of those
Right.
smiles and stuff, no matter what's going on.
Yep.
Aw,
And I have
precious.
quite a few grandchildren. It's always great to see,
Awesome.
get news about them, or a
Yeah.
couple live in town, and that's good. But de-stressing, it was really useful for me years ago when I read that, so I don't know who the heck it was that said it, but said that people who are introverts, and I'm quite an introvert, I'm a quieter person, when they work with people, need vast quantities of time to rejuvenate and regenerate.
Yeah.
And that was so nice for me because I was able to tell my wife, I'm not trying to
Right.
ignore you, but right now I just need to go out on the porch and just sit for a while.
Sure.
And once she understood that, that was fine. When it's summertime, I like to garden.
Oh, that's awesome.
I also like to take walks with my wife. We live out in the country, and it's just nice doing that.
I think that's good for, I'm just going to say from a guy perspective, any men out there, and ladies for that matter, that's what makes marriages work, is when you understand your partner, because I work 7 days a week. I know you're a mom and you're a professional, and you kind of doing this 7 days, like all of us in this room. But there are times where you need to do whatever it is that is
nice,
good for
Dan,
you.
that you could
That's
communicate
great.
that.
Seriously.
I think that
That's
is
awesome.
difficult for some people to realize, or they feel guilty.
Or
about-
understand.
Oh, absolutely.
It's communicating, but understanding,
Right.
so the couple or the people or the
Or
family.
you feel guilty for taking a half an hour to yourself because you just need to kind of process
Chillax.
what's happened, for whomever you were working with that day, because I feel like that it can be heavy business.
I'll tell you one thing, the last few weeks that has not been helpful for stress is the Cubs.
Oh, I thought you were
know.
going to say the election.
No, we have a couple dogs in the house, and it's like during the Los Angeles playoffs games, at one point, one dog went under the bed, the other dog went under his
Oh my
crate.
gosh.
Because I was a little emotional.
You're allowed, and they probably are not used to that. That's funny.
I'm usually very quiet. but-
Our house is so loud that my dogs don't even notice. Because we're just a loud family in general, I feel like. But you know what? I did joke that thank God the Cubs won, whatever, but I was really glad that it was over because the kids had been staying up late
Crazy hours.
numerous nights. And that's a lot different than our normal routine. So I said, I'm kind of ready to get back to everybody in bed. And that's when I have my quiet time regardless. That's when I need a few minutes to kind of take a deep breath and watch the news and have a glass of wine or just silence, just nothing, and when the games are going on every night, it was not happening. And I can tell I need that.
My wife tries to shut me up, and it doesn't work. I love, you know what? I go to sleep you know, in a great mood. I wake up pretty much in a great mood every day. I love life, but as we look at life, this is, you know, there's a whole different bunch of levels here today. And I hope people are grabbing from this, because just some of the synergies today of how you approach different things. But I love what these guys bring to the table. I
do too. And I think that's why it just fascinates me. I think from the second I found that I was pregnant with my eldest child, I'm one of those serious nerds. I love parenting books. And I feel like I had fabulous parents. My parents are great, and I have a great extended family. But I am fascinated by reading everybody else's ideas and their thoughts and their methods. You can't have too many tools in your toolbox when it comes to your children, because every kid is so different. We have 5 children. They're all so very, very different. That you can't, one thing doesn't work for all of them. And you know, I just love I love the perspective. I feel like we could do a show on this every week. I love it. It makes me excited.
My mother would say that Rick Federici made up for all 6 of her children. But I know, so just from having my 2 daughters, so different. You're so right.
You know, there's some things that are pretty much across the board, and then there's other things that you think, what, you are an alien. Why is this not syncing? But you know, you try something different. And as a parent, that can be very challenging. Just like, you know, the relaxed consequences versus, you know, freaking out in that second. Cause it's easy to do that. And I've done both.
Well, it's called playing on that emotion. You have to be very careful.
Well, it is. And it's tough sometimes to try something different, and, you know, and sometimes that's just the best thing. Scrap it, start over. And that's why I love a different perspective, and I think that you guys are
if great. It's not working, you know, obviously you're not going to change the situation. You need to change yourself and your approach to it done, and that's hard for people to recognize and to do. But we encourage it.
Well, we're so happy you guys joined us today, and so if anybody is interested in this What's Up in a Teen's World, again, it's Tuesday, Election Day. That's funny. I didn't even realize that when I read the date. It didn't even click with me. Can you tell us the time again and the phone number for Family and Youth Service Bureau?
The series will run from 6 to 7:30, and our phone number is 219-464-9585.
And website, just in case?
FYSB.org.
Okay. Perfect.
Awesome. Well, it's been a wonderful, wonderful hour here on Younger Life Live. We'd like to thank the LaPorte Hospital for their great partnership here with Younger Life Live. Of course, WIMS. Off to a great weekend. We got about 30 seconds, guys. Anything exciting this weekend? We'll start on this side.
No, I get to relax.
That is exciting.
Same here.
Good job.
It's supposed to be a nice sunny weekend.
Yes.
Typically footballs, I'm more passionate about that because, you know, the Cubs are done by September.
He's pushing it with that cool World Series shirt on, by the way.
So maybe I'll start getting more enthused about my Packers. I grew up in LaPorte, and somehow or other just always became a Packer fan, and so turn on the game.
It's nice.
See what happens.
It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Pretty much anything we do, I think, we'll do with good spirits, because it is going to be a beautiful weekend. It's hard to not be in a good mood. And the sun's shining, and the trees are turning, leaves are falling. I love it. It's gorgeous. So I'm
just going to sing the mamas and the papas here. All right. Thanks, you guys, for all that you do.
Thank
we appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thanks for making a difference in our community. On behalf of us all at Younger Life Live and Gerard Media, I'm Rick Federici.
I'm Mary Anthony. Thank you guys so much. Honestly, so much.
AM 1420, WIMS, Michigan City, a Gerard Media Company station.